All right, I have some business I have to take care of before we get started. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming. My name is Michael Scanlon. I'm the founder of ClimateCon, and we're doing a series of these events to build up towards ClimateCon, which will be a big conference January 3rd through 5th here in Denver. We'll be celebrating climate innovation. We'll be highlighting and uplifting some of the solutions and the innovations that are happening in the climate space. And we hope the mayor of Denver will participate. We hope everybody in the community will participate and help make it a great event. So we're doing a series of these events along the way. Today's event is sustainability, Saddle Up for Sustainability. We're going to talk about cycling here in Denver. Thank you to Ms. Brough for joining us. Can we get a round of applause for Ms. Kelly Brough, please? Thank you for joining us today. So I wanted to start with just a quick little story, very briefly. How many of you have heard of the nation state Tuvalu? Anyone here know Tuvalu? Tuvalu is an island nation state halfway between Hawaii and Australia, surrounded by ocean, and they're basically counting down their existence. They know that with the rising seas going on, it's just a matter of time. They're moving their nation to the internet, and they're trying to find land, solid ground, where they're going to be able to reestablish themselves. So if the severity of the climate crisis isn't fully apparent to folks yet, the Tuvalu story is one that might help you better understand the severity of the challenges that we're up against. So today we're going to try and talk about one solution here locally that we can address, which is getting around on bicycles more, cycling, scooters, and other forms of mobility. To do that with us today, we've got a couple of great panelists. First, I'd like to introduce Jordan Hall on the end there. Jordan's the store manager of the Tech Downtown Denver. Did I get that right? Tech Bicycle. Trek Bicycle downtown Denver. He commutes every day from Aurora. Yes, that's Ms. Brough sent us a campaign photo of her on her bicycle.
And it's a Trek.
And it's a Trek. And it looks like a nice bike, I gotta say. Looks like a good bike. Jordan commutes to work every day from Aurora, except when the Cherry Creek Trail is flooded. Like today. And we also have with us Molly McKinley. Molly's the policy director at Denver Streets Partnership. They're doing incredible work. They're a coalition of community organizations advocating for people-friendly streets in Denver. She's got a background in environmental policy, was a founding member of Oats and Spokes, a bicycle advocacy organization in Raleigh, North Carolina. She currently serves on the Sustainable Transportation Subcommittee of Denver's Sustainability Advisory Committee and primarily moves around Denver on bike and bus. So we love that about Molly. Yay, can we get a round of applause for our panelists? Thanks. So with that, let's open it up to a couple of questions from our panel. Molly, why don't you go first? Oh, I love that you guys are going to share the mic. Thank you.
All right, Kelly, you had to know this question was coming today. I solicited some questions from the Denver Bicycle Lobby. In Denver, right? You said no when asked if Denver needs more bike lanes. What's up with that?
I know. I thought the first part of your question would be, but first you said yes, which I did. But this is part of actually how I think we probably all have to be thinking, and that is continually learning. So for me, I've commuted on my bike for 30 years, and I think what got my attention in this last year was I had no idea how bad we were doing it, not killing people on their bikes. And pedestrians. And I'm pro not killing people on their bikes and pedestrians. So I initially said yes to more bike lanes, and then I said, holy smokes, we better do a reset and make sure we're making the right investments and making it safe. Because I not only want to be able to feel safe, but I want everyone to feel safe. And I understand when you're starting, and frankly, even if you've done it for years, some of the activity we're seeing on our streets makes me really uncomfortable. And if I want my kids to be able to ride to school, or all of it has to be improved. So for me, it wasn't a slowdown. It's a let's make sure we're making the right investments and actually achieving our goal of safety. And I don't want to slow our roll to do it. And then I learned, after I said that, I invited more feedback, and people said, I think there's specific ways we can make those investments very quickly, specific intersections that are causing some of the greatest issues, which is encouraging. And to me, that's exactly how the learning probably has to go. But that is a learning process you just observed of a candidate who, by the way, candidates never tell you we're open to learning.
You got all the right answers, right?
Yeah, we're supposed to have every answer.
Molly, any follow-up on that?
It's like a full other question that's a follow-up, but
Okay.
it's related to what you were just mentioning.
Okay.
So you've talked a little bit about needing to reset and pause, especially on Vision Zero. In a moment that feels so urgent, that like makes me a little bit nervous. Can you say more about what you mean?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Uh-oh, I'm very sorry.
It's just this tiny microphone.
I feel, oh, it's the Barbie microphone. I'm pro Barbies.
Here, swap microphones with me.
I'm putting it all back together.
You're doing it. Look at you.
It's
You got
back
it.
together. Problem solved.
You're a problem.
Yeah, so that's another good lesson. Every word you say is interpreted in the worst possible manner that it can be. For me, reset meant quickly assess. How are we doing the right things? Are we doing it in the right way? Are we investing? And frankly, I think Vision Zero says to me, we have an urgency to get this right because I don't want to stop biking until we figure it out. The other thing I will tell you is Vamos, I think, is another great resource. And one of the things I love that is really advocated is the piloting, the testing, the tracking of data, and then making decisions about how we make investments. And you can do that pretty quickly, and so I love that too. So let me be clear. It's the speedy reset to make the investments right. I'm going to try to get all my words correct. Yeah, thank you, Mom. Speedy reset.
I love it, and I love that you're being data-driven. I think that's so critical with modern governments. That
Also
we,
a crazy notion.
Yeah, right. That we follow the data. Jordan, you want to go next?
So just fielding questions from customers. How do you plan to kind of integrate bike commuters and sport bikes, sport cyclists as well?
Yeah. You like sport? You mean people who try for fun? Yeah, I do both. So to me, this is an interesting. I'm going to give you an example based on when you're a commuter. You typically find your safest, easiest route, fastest, and that's the same one you take every single day. Versus if you ride for fun or you ride because you want to get around your city, you need way better navigation, way better options. You actually don't just go north and south, that you may have to, on a crazy day, go east or west, or is it the opposite? Yeah, east and west is great, north and south is deadly. And so to me, that's the distinction of making it easier and easier. But I will also tell you, a lot of sport cycling means you want to be along those trails or on those off-road options. I think this is where we want to think about, do we trail two sides of our creeks pretty consistently to have walkers on one and riders on another? And, you know, downtown where we've done this, it's so much nicer from my point of view. I think Cherry Creek could benefit from this significantly. And so I think that's another piece I'd look at to try to see if we could improve kind of that sport and fun cycling.
Excellent, great answer. Appreciate that. Molly, do you have a question for our candidate?
I do. I have so many questions. So we can. You talked a little bit about a neighborhood by neighborhood approach to parking and safety infrastructure. In my experience, a neighborhood by neighborhood approach sometimes leads to piecemeal infrastructure that's not connected and really prioritizes the voices of wealthy homeowners who are able to attend the meetings and know their city council members, et cetera. Yeah. Can you explain what you mean by neighborhood approach?
First, Molly, I'm going to stop speaking in my campaign.
It's on my notebook.
Yeah. Okay, neighborhood by neighborhood approach. For me, what this was really focused on is we're one of the worst single car occupancy vehicle cities in the nation. What? Denver? I think that's ridiculous. And listen, people say, well, it's because we don't have good transit. I promise you, Phoenix has worse transit than we have. And so for me, this was really about neighborhood by neighborhood asking, what does it take to get you out of your car? Not just cycling, but get you out of your car. And we start to look at solutions that might, if people are invested in them, maybe we actually have some success in changing behavior. I completely agree with you with systems and connectivity. It would be like you would never build our highway system neighborhood by neighborhood. And so I don't mean to imply that. I get the connections. The other thing I want to spend a minute on, though, is your point about how good we are at saying no thank you in our neighborhoods. And we're really good at saying no thank you, not just to bike lanes or transportation investments. We're good at saying no thank you to housing that's affordable. And I think we need a mayor that's willing to go neighborhood by neighborhood and say, oh no, we're going to get to yes, and we're going to do it together. Maybe not everybody's going with us, but we're going to figure out how we get to yes on these things, because we have to. We have to build more densely. We have to do it in the right places. We have to do it around where we've made investments in our transit system and our major bus routes. We know this, not just for transportation reasons, but for air quality reasons. Speaking of that, I think we were just highlighted as top 5 worst air quality in the nation now for cities. We have to do it for climate reasons. We have to do it for water reasons. To me, this is part of what the next mayor needs to be prepared to do, and that is these are the kinds of transitions we're going to make it safe to bike and to walk, and we'll still make sure you can drive your car, but you don't have to go 35 miles an hour on every road that you're on.
Right. And I love the collaborative approach. I love that you're looking to bring everybody in and look for solutions, not just try to dictate them from above. I think that's a fantastic mindset. Real quick before we get to another question from our panel, today's air quality, it might be confused as being just kind of misty out there, but apparently today's air quality is poor because of the wildfires going on in Canada.
Yeah.
So the wildfire season begins sooner. It affects us from thousands of miles away. The climate crisis is kind of hitting us every day in the face.